Hello everyone, this is Dr. Geeta Naik Vislavat. Today's topic is Introduction to Public Administration Part 2. Here in this topic, we are able to understand the elements of public administration, difference between private administration and public administration, characteristics of public administration, scope of public administration and its views, significance of public administration, role of public administration in third world countries. This is the BA first year, first semester topic. According to Felix A. Negro, public administration is a cooperative effort in the society. Idea of the public policy may be the result of ruling party manifesto, but the policy formulation is done by bureaucrats who are the part of executive body, which itself called as public administration. Public administration coordinates all the three branches of government. They are legislative, executive, and judiciary systems. You all know main reason for private entities establishment is to acquire lot of profit, but the public entity always strives for public services. It is service oriented in nature. Private administration or private companies, their main motto is profit orientation, but the public administration or public entities main motto is service oriented. Public administration is closely associated with numerous private groups in providing services. For example, if you look into PPP model projects anywhere, today you observe most of the works under PPP model uh, are done by private organizations. Investments and money is arranged by private organizations, and the services government is providing best services to public with minimal charges. In this situation, government is associated with private organizations for providing best services to public. So public administration as a field of study in recent times, most of the administrative decisions are taken by keeping human relations in mind. Hence, public administration is not less than whole of the government. Coming to next slide, here we are going to discuss the scope of public administration. There are two views regarding the scope of public administration. They are post-CARB view and subject matter view. According to post-CARB view, it concentrates on managerial tasks of an organization. This post-CARB acronomy is coined by Luther Gulick. Each letter in the word post-CARB explains the managerial tasks. They are planning, organization, staffing, directing, coordination, reporting, and budgeting. Next comes to subject matter view, the second view of scope of public administration. This view describes that administrative activities of each department in government are different from one department to other department. For example, the services are administrative activities of law and order, health, education, agriculture, social security, and so on are having their own specified techniques. These techniques are called substantive techniques, which are different from post-CARB activities. So, public administrators should concentrate on both post-CARB activities and at the same time substantive activities of the department works. According to Louis Mariam, he rightly said that public administration is like scissor, in which one blade consists of post-CARB activities, another blade is consist of substantive or subject matter activities. In order to make public administration an effective tool, both post-CARB and substantive activities run hand in hand. Administration. Based on the operational setup of administration, it is divided into two parts. One is private administration, second one is public administration. Operations in government setup are called public administration. Operations in non-governmental setup are called private administration. Coming to next slide, here we are going to discuss the similarities between the public and private administrations. Managerial techniques are similar between public and private organizations. The managerial activities are like planning, staffing, direction, etc. are same for both the administrative structures. Hierarchy and scalar chain. Hierarchy means ranking of employees according to their eligibility in an organization is called hierarchy. This is common for both private and public entities, because in private organizations also the employees are employed on their eligibility. Accounting process, the matters, accounting, expenses, everything is common for both the entities. And filing, keeping the files, maintaining the records, everything is common. And stocking, statistics, research work, investigation, etc. all activities are common for both the entities. And next, differences between public and private administration. Here, concept wise, I will discuss what are the differences between private administration and public administration. The size of private administration is small in nature and public administration is normally big in size. Motive. Private administration is profit motive and public administration is service oriented. Transparency is high in private administration, low in public administration. Accountability. Private administration is accountable to management, whereas public administration is accountable to people of the country. Competition. Private administration will have high competition, whereas public administration is mostly monopoly in nature. Example, railways. Legal framework. Public administration is free from rules. Rules and regulations are according to their profit. And here in public administration, there will be fixed rules. The administrators will not cross those rules. Control. The public administration is controlled by political leaders, whereas the political leaders are ruling party, whereas the private administration is controlled by management. Focal point. The public administration's focal point is citizens, whereas private administration's focal point is consumer. Their treatment, public administration's treatment towards people is uniform, means if he is a rich person or poor person, the treatment of the government officials is equal, mostly equal. Whereas in private administration, the treatment towards client is changes according to their status. Next, come to characteristics of public administration. The following are the characteristics of the public administration. Public administration will have, prepares public policies, mostly deals with the activities of executive branch. Government organizations are mostly monopoly in nature, so they are big in size. Policy execution is the objective of executive branch or public administration. The activities of state like policy preparation and execution, so on, connected with public administration. So it is a tool of government to implement its policies. Public administration divides into two approaches. The approaches, there are administrative approaches and applied approaches. In administrative approaches, we are having three approaches, sub approaches. They are organizational approaches, behavioral approaches, public and personal approaches. According to organizational approach, it explains the principles of organizations like planning, staffing, research, communication, hierarchy, etc. Behavioral approach deals with the nature of human beings and results of decision making while dealing with the administrative activities. It deals with the behavior of the administrator. And the last one is public personal approach. It deals with the appointments, classifications, trainings, promotions and salaries of the employees. Some of the activities involved in public and personal approaches. The second one is applied administrative approaches. This applied administrative approaches, according to Walker, are political functions. The political functions in this approach are the relation between executive and legislatures, ministerial activities, relation between ministers and government employees. Legislative functions comes to the process, all the activities involved in the process of introduction of bill in parliament to the acceptance of bill as act in parliament. All the functions included in this process comes under legislative functions. Next comes to financial functions. The budget, preparation of budget, execution of budget, and audit activities, all these comes under financial functions. And comes to education activities, all the activities included for the development of education system in the country are called educational functions. Social welfare administration. Social welfare administration deals with providing food grains on subsidy and providing housing facilities, social security, employment, etc. to the people. Economic activities deals with the industrialization, agriculture, foreign trade, public sector companies activities, so on. And local administration, the development of local level people and local level areas by providing facilities to them. For example, 73 and 74th constitutional amendments in India provided lot of facilities for the development of local level areas. And next, elements of public administration. Elements of public administration are, first one is organization. In public administration, organization is very important. It is called as anatomy of public administration. It involves the structuring of organization with individuals with their eligibilities and functions. Management of personnel. It concerned with the directions of individuals and functions to achieve the goals. Method and procedure. Techniques of administrating the process of working and the law of administration. These are all the things included in method of procedure. And material supply. It includes the tools with whose help the administrative work is carried on. Public finance. Public finance contains indirect taxes, direct taxes, income tax, etc. All the taxes and dealings of budgets of national, state and local governments. Lastly, administrative accountability. Administration is accountable to legislation, judiciary and people of the country. Significance of public administration or importance of public administration. Public administration, it implements law and policies for the development of the society. Participates in the policy preparation with the help of permanent bureaucrats. Due to welfareistic in nature, public administration provides lot of services to people. Modern administration always strives for social change, equality and economic development in the society. Most of the democratic countries' administration stabilized in nature compared with military ruling countries. Military ruling countries' administration is not stabilized, but in third world countries, most of the domestic countries, democratic countries are stabilized in nature. Proper administration leads to stable government. It leads to developments of civilization. Next comes to features of public administration. The features of public administration in developing countries comes to most of the personal management practices are old in nature, due to which merit is not given importance in developing countries. Due to overpopulation, huge burden is placed on the administration machinery, which lead to failure of administration in fulfilling the needs of the state. And thirdly, the developing countries mostly centralized in nature, so the local level problems are unsolved. Most of the bureaucrats are journalist in nature. The bureaucrats are in India, mostly they are journalists, they are not specialists. These countries need more specialists in the place of journalists. Then only they can solve the problems very easily. Relation between politicians and public officials are not harmonious as it ought to be. Most of the third world countries are suffering with corruption problems. These are the features of third world countries in the world. And the state activity is very much increased as public administration assumes much importance in modern times in developing countries. The third world countries are engaged in the task of development to eradicate the illiteracy, poverty, and hunger. For the formulation and successful implementation of policies, administrators should be active. The well-being of the people is increasingly dependent on the performance of the machinery of public administration. So next is welfaristic state concept, welfare state concept. The range and volume of activities of the administration have increased in modern days due to science and technology, advancement, industrial revolution, and welfare state ideas. Socialistic principles are some of the factors of the development. It is no exaggeration that there is no field of human activity by which the administration is not concerned with directly or indirectly. Public administration is an essential part of civilized society in view of its dominant roles in regulation of welfare and development. Next comes to democratic state. Here, democratic state means public administration role is vital in the holding of elections and the implementation of the policies and programs of the elected executives in a country. This country is called democratic country, and this is the democratic setup of public administration. Next, public administration works as stabilizing force. According to Paul Pigaros, administrators ensures the continuance of the existing order with a minimum effort and risk. Administrators are essentially the guardians of traditions. Public administration is a great stabilizing force in the society. After independence, India faced serious problems like rehabilitation, food shortage, etc. These were solved to a large extent through effective administrative interventions in Indian society. Next, public administration works as instrument of social change. Public administration played a substantial role in eradicating untouchability, lessening social tensions in conflicts. The administrative machinery itself consists of people belonging to different faiths, castes, groups, etc., whose work untidily in discharging their responsibilities. It is works as changing context. There is a change in the perceptions on the role of state and public administration. In the changing context in India, popularly known as structural adjustment policies, resulted in emphasis on privatization, liberalization, and globalization. The good governance, e-governance, and m-governance are the important developments of this new context. Good governance. According to good governance, it is an important feature of public administration. Governance is a broader concept. It is defined as the manner in which power is exercised in the management of a country's social and economic resources for development. Here comes to characteristics of good governance: freedom of participation and association by various social, economic, religious, cultural, professional groups in the process of governance; cooperation between civil society organizations and government. It creates cooperation between civil society organizations and governments; political accountability of political system by the people and regular elections. The political accountability will be done in the process of regular elections. Bureaucratic accountability ensures by system to monitor and control the performance of government officials. And related to quality of services, the quality of services which are provided by bureaucrats is the benchmark for the accountability and for the efficiency of that bureaucrat. Freedom of expression and information needed for formulation of public policies, monitoring, decision making, evaluation of government performance are the some of the features of good governance. Next, come to e-governance or electronic governance. It is called as digital government as the new system uses internet as the gateway or the means by which people and government get connected to each other. Here, internet is the main mediator between people and government for fulfilling the needs of people. Uh, people. It is an important tool of good governance. It responds effectively to the needs of the people. It increases the transparency and decreases the red tapeism in the governance. Next, lastly, M-governance, the new concept. M-governance or mobile governance. It is the subdomain of e-governance. It ensures that electronic services are available to people via mobile technology using devices such as mobile phones. These services are cheaper as well as accessible in most of the third world countries. Next, come to role of public administration in developing countries. Government of the developing countries is expected to provide basic amenities to the various sections of society like poor people, women, aged people, children, etc. Here in India also, India is a developing country. In India also, the government is providing, government is formulating policies for the well-being of the poor sections of the people and women, aged persons, children, etc. So, public administration in developing countries has to meet the rising interests of the people. And role of socio-economic development. Developing countries are those countries which are in the stage of transformation from one traditional activity to modern activity. For example, agriculture to industrialization. These countries may have lack of infrastructure, technology, resources, trained manpower. So, government of these countries has a responsibility of the overall development of the people. So, yeah, the government always try to develop socio-economic equality in the society. The traditional functions of government is to maintain law and order. There is no development of the society without maintaining the law and order. In the developing countries, this traditional function is so difficult to maintain because most of the sections of the society do agitations or just to fulfill their demands. The in traditional societies, people always do agitations and do slogans against the government to fulfill their demands. Thus, it become difficult for the government to maintain law and order all the time, which creates hurdles in the process of development. The law and order process will be difficult due to these demands in traditional countries, traditional administrations. So it has to make tough rules to maintain law and order and to develop the society. And fourth one is developing a sense of nationhood. No country can develop without the sense of nationhood. Communal conflicts, regional problems, caste issues, etc., threaten the development, stability, and national unity. Bureaucracy plays a vital role in the preservation of national unity and tries to resolve all the problems of the society. So, here bureaucracy plays an important role in connecting the people towards nationhood. So, the nationhood mainly disturbs it, the caste conflicts, communal conflicts, and regional conflicts. So, government has to take steps to control these conflicts. Automatically, the nationhood will be developed. And most of the third world countries do not have much experience of democratic systems. Therefore, these countries require the support of administration for the survival of democracy. The administration maintenance of law and order and democracy. Moreover, it also helps political executives to formulate policies and to get the policy implemented effectively. So in this way, it helps the survival of democracy. Some of the suggestions for the development of third world countries effectively with the help of public administration. The administrators of the developing countries should be given training time to time so administration can be function efficiently. There is need to formulate rules and regulations which can control the unethical behavior of administrators. For example, in UPSC civil services exam, recently in mains examination, in recent changes they introduced ethics paper uh, which deals with the ethical nature of the aspirants, uh, uh, which increases the ethical nature of the administrators. And administrative policies should be formulated according to the needs of the native people. The administrative policies should be concentrated with the uh, according to the needs of the local persons, and administrators need to be more accountable for effective functioning. Corruption should be removed from administration so that transparency increases and automatically development increases. By these suggestions, administration in third world countries effectively works. If you have any doubts, please contact 9849 373729. Thank you.